Let's talk about the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. In this video, we're going to look at how to create an expression of interest profile. And also we're going to look at the difference in submitting your profile and not getting the 500 points for in-demand occupation, where a lot of persons are confused because they are eligible under the international education stream, but they are not seeing where the 500 points for the in-demand jobs in Manitoba were allotted to them, and so it makes the score very low when they're submitting, and there's a lot of confusion about that. We're going to clarify all of that in this video. If you're an international student, if you are a work permit holder and you intend to use the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program as a pathway for permanent resident status, then the first thing that you have to do is to create an expression of interest profile. That is your first step to immigrating to Manitoba through the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program. There is no way around that. It's not an application, it's just an online profile. And once you are interested in applying using the MPNP as a pathway, then you will be asked a series of questions online, and then you will get what they call EOI ranking points based on the answers you have provided. Now, your profile is then entered into a pool of all the eligible candidates. Then the MPNP, through their regular draws, as they call it, invites the highest scoring candidates in the pool to submit a full application. And that is done twice or even sometimes 3 times per month. Lots of persons are confused, especially the students who are eligible under the IES, which is the International Education Stream, because once they have completed their EOI, which is the expression of interest profile, they're not seeing where the 500 points for the in-demand occupation, they're not seeing where it was added. Really, if it's not explained to you, then you would not understand that. It's okay. It's normal. If it is that you are eligible under the IES stream, you will not see the 500 points added at that point in time. It's just how it is treated on the system. It's confusing. I understand that. Let's hope that this video will help to ease any frustration that you have. So how do you submit an expression of interest? Well, first things first is that you must familiarize yourself with the eligibility criteria of the MPNP and the different streams or pathway, if you call it, that you're applying to, because a lot of them may require you to have a language test or fulfill some other requirements. So it's best for you to familiarize yourself with the different pathways before you submit your EOI. And to submit your EOI, then you are required to create an account on the MPNP online portal. I'll leave the link in the description. And once you sign in, you can select create an expression of interest from the options that were provided. The skilled worker stream, international education stream, and then there's a pathway under the business investor stream, but they have a separate process for submitting an EOI. So naturally we'll be focusing on the skilled worker stream and the international education stream. So for the skilled worker stream, there are 2 different pathways. You have skilled worker Manitoba and skilled worker overseas. And for the skilled worker Manitoba, this pathway nominates applicants who have strong connection to the province through ongoing employment and sufficient skills, education and training, work experience and official language proficiency to make an immediate and ongoing contribution to the Manitoba economy and our community at large. Now, for the eligibility for the skilled worker in Manitoba, you must have Manitoba employment, ongoing Manitoba employment, means that you possess a valid work permit and a Manitoba company has offered you a full-time, long-term job after you have completed at least 6 months continuous full-time employment with the company as a temporary foreign worker or international student working graduate. All right, so please read that. I'll leave the link in the description. If you are able to obtain a temporary work permit from IRCC, you may be able to apply to the MPNP as a temporary foreign worker. All right, qualifying employment. Your employer must be incorporated or registered by or under the act of the legislature of a province, and they will give you, so it must be a legitimate employer in essence. So I will not be going through this for time's sake. Okay. Requirements for international students from other provinces. So if it is that you did not study in Manitoba, you're coming from a different province to the province of Manitoba, then if you graduated from a post-secondary program in another province and you want to apply to the skilled worker in Manitoba pathway because you've been offered a job in Manitoba, to be eligible, you must first have been working for that Manitoba employer for at least 1 year. Skilled worker overseas is another pathway that nominates applicants who demonstrate an established connection to Manitoba through the support of family members or friends that you have in Manitoba, or previous education or work experience in the province, or if you get an invitation to apply received directly from the MPNP as part of a strategic recruitment initiative. And the eligibility for the skilled worker overseas, you must have the support of family members or friends, because this person will be required to complete a support tool, meaning that they're going to say, yes, I support this person, and express ways in which they have lended support to you in the past and in the future, how they plan to support you, things like that nature. Previous education or work experience in the province. So if you have Manitoba experience, an invitation to apply received directly through the MPNP as part of the strategic recruitment initiative, and this is applicable for those who are eligible under here. If you don't have that, then other eligibility applies to you. So you always can go through to see if you meet the requirement for the Manitoba skilled worker overseas. And the other one, this is the international education stream, and this provides international students graduating from designated Manitoba post-secondary institutions as a faster pathway to nomination. So you're seeing it on the website of Manitoba. This is immigratemanitoba.com, and they're saying that the IES provides international students graduating from designated Manitoba post-secondary institutions a faster pathway to nomination. There are 3 ways or 3 pathways under the international education stream. There is the career employment pathway, there is the graduate internship pathway, and then there is the international student entrepreneur pilot. So for the career employment pathway, which is the popular one, we're going to look at the eligibility. And for the eligibility for this, and here it says again, the career employment pathway provides faster nomination pathways for post-secondary students who graduate and find long-term employment in Manitoba in an in-demand occupation consistent with their training. If you meet these conditions, you will be eligible to apply to the MPNP immediately after graduating and obtaining the job offer. So you don't even have to be working for any period of time. You just need to be offered the job for at least 1 year. Let's look at the eligibility further. For this, the IES career employment pathway, you must have graduated in the past 3 years from a designated post-secondary institution. So that's a university or college or any other post-secondary institution from a full-time program of at least 1 year or 2 semesters in length. You must have a minimum level of CLB 7. So this is the Canadian language benchmark. So if you do the CELPIP or any other language proficiency, must be equivalent to the CLB 7. So you must have a minimum of CLB 7 in the different language proficiency areas. So be it reading, speaking, writing, listening, you must have at least a minimum level of 7. And the current employment in Manitoba, you must have a full-time job offer from an eligible employer in Manitoba with a minimum 1-year contract in an occupation on Manitoba's in-demand occupation list that is consistent with your completed program of studies in Manitoba. You can always expand to see what those in-demand occupation are, and when you look at it, if it's business, finance, administration, you can go through and see where your job falls, and then you can know exactly what knock code you fall under, but it must be consistent with the program of study that you have done to be eligible under this career employment pathway, which of course they say is one of the fastest ways for you to be nominated. That is, you're studying in the same field that you're offered a job. You don't necessarily have to be working, just need to be offered the job for at least 1 year. You must also have a minimum level of the Canadian language benchmark, at least 7. So you can do the CELPIP or any other language assessment, but it must be equivalent to the CLB 7, which is the Canadian language benchmark, at least 7. You must be working full-time with a valid work permit at the time your application is assessed. The MPNP may impose program or occupation-specific limits. Manitoba degree program graduate qualify provided they have job offer in any of these tiers based on the in-demand list, and you must demonstrate liquid funds equivalent to the low income cutoff requirements for independent financial resources. You must be residing in Manitoba at the time of application, and you must show the intent to continue to reside in Manitoba after nomination, including the submission of a career employment plan demonstrating opportunities for a successful career track in Manitoba. It has who cannot apply. You can read through that. Like I said, I will link all of these in the description below. So once you're eligible under the IES, that's the International Education Stream, and there are 3 different pathways under that stream. Popular among those 3 pathways is the career employment pathway, and this is where you work or you study and you're offered a job in the same area that you have studied, and you have a minimum of 7 by the standard of the Canadian language benchmark. That qualifies you. Just to recap, we have looked at the different pathways under the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program that students, international students, and even work permit holders can use for permanent resident status in Canada. In the next video that you will see at the end of this video, we are going to create an expression of interest profile. We're going to go through the questions and then look at the report and explain why is it that some persons are not seen where the 500 points for in-demand occupation was not applied for their EOI summary if they are eligible under the international education stream, and then we will explain that further just to not make the video for too long. So at the end of this video, you will see the link or the card for this next video. It will also be in the description. If you appreciate the content, if you got some value from the information, please do give a thumbs up, as this will help the YouTube algorithm to share the video to more persons. Do subscribe to the channel for other information pertaining to Canada immigration, and I'll see you in the next video.